I have a question. I've been contacted by some citizens, and they believe that the seconds on the yellow light has been decreased on select cameras. Is that true?
I have the faintest idea because it's controlled by your city engineers. We have absolutely nothing to do with the yellow light times, and that's by the contract. We will not touch them. We will not come near the amber times. And those are, the minimums are established by Caltrans, and as far as I know, your city has been in compliance with it.
Okay, yeah, well, he's gonna get someone to answer that question. But my other question is there's also a belief that elected officials and confidential plates get a pass on red light tickets. Is that true?
You would have to talk to each of the police departments that handle these, because it is entirely up to the police departments. It is not up to us. We have nothing to do with it.
Okay, that's all the questions I have for you.
What was your question again?
If elected officials or people with confidential plates get a pass on red light tickets.
May I add something to that? Before I started working for Redflex, I worked for the city of Escondido as a police officer until I was medicaled out. While I was there, I was a traffic investigator, and one of my other duties was to operate the red light camera program for them. I can tell you that my police sergeant's mother got a ticket, the assistant police chief's wife got a ticket, and I know one captain who was really mad at me because his son got 3 tickets.
All right, thank you.
Could you address the question I asked earlier of Mr. Wood? The cases in Orange County, Los Angeles County, found that this is unconstitutional. Have you been ordered to shut those off? Are you planning on taking those out? What's the status of that?
Those cameras are still in operation. They have not been asked to be shut down. They still generate violations, which are looked at by the police officers in Orange County and Los Angeles, and we're still going to court on it. The thing that the counselor did not point out is, and it was touched on by our attorney, is that the Collette decision is specific to that case, and all appellate decisions are specific to the case that was being heard at the time. It is not a general catch-all for all other cases to follow. So specifically for Collette, in that particular case, it was a matter of the police officer who gave the testimony for the city did not lay the foundation out. And for that reason, the finding of guilty was overturned. That is why it doesn't go anywhere else. It was only heard in the appellate court in Orange County. Had it been a more legitimate case that had far-reaching consequences, I think it would have gone up to the Supreme Court to be published at that level.
Okay, thank you. I know we need to get an answer to the question on the yellow light timing. That be
Mr. Counsel, Sean McGlade is the city engineer. This matter actually came up with the council, held a hearing on this 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and he went through the whole details.
Before you leave, are you contradicting Mr. Wood in saying, because the clear message I got from him is that red light cameras in Orange County are over.
It's my
You're saying that's
belief
not
that the council may have gotten his information from a not too reputable source, such as highwayrobbery.net. It's a online source that is definitely against the program, and I would recommend that anybody that uses it, use it with caution.
Okay, thank you. If we could have our city engineer address the yellow light timer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. As the city engineer, I'm responsible for the timing of traffic signals. With regards to the yellow time in a sequence of signal timing, there are very strict guidelines issued by the state of California through the California Department of Transportation for setting yellow times, which are gauged towards the prevailing speed on the highway. Thus, if you get if you're traveling along Highway 18 through Apple Valley, where the speed limit is 60 miles an hour, let's say, you'll find that the yellow time at any signal if you approach is much longer than if you're traveling through the inner parts of the city with the prevailing speed may only be 35 miles per hour. With that responsibility for 80 traffic signals throughout the city, the only time we will change that timing for yellow is when the prevailing speed changes. The few exceptions to that would be if there are circumstances that would dictate that we take a look at deviating from that. A good example would be the most recent traffic signal that we built on Fish Hatchery and Bear Valley Road. Because of the steep grade approach to that traffic signal, we have adjusted the yellow time in that signal sequence. But apart from that, we follow the guidelines set by the state, and we will only change them in accordance with any change to the prevailing speeds.
So you do not reduce the yellow time for the actual camera lights?
Absolutely not.
Okay. All right. And then my next question, I guess the captain would. Captain Reynolds, thank you, Sean. My question was, there's a belief with the citizens, some citizens, that elected officials or people with confidential plates get a pass on red light cameras tickets.
That would be unfounded. Sheriff Hoops asked me the same question. Do we have just an arbitrary dismissal rate depending on who's there? And now, I took the same oath that was mentioned here several times tonight, and I'm responsible for treating everybody fairly across the board, no matter who they are. So if you're an elected official and you get a red light ticket, if it doesn't fit the criteria I mentioned earlier for dismissal, you're going to pay. Same with a police officer, anybody else. I'm careful when I run them because I want to make sure I'm a role model. And my folks say, "Well, you're the captain. We can take care of that one." I said, "No, you can't. I'm the one that sets the bar, and it's high, and I think that's where we need to keep it. So if we're going to keep these things, we need to play by the rules.
Thank you.
And if other decisions are made, then we'll work through that one as well."
Thank you.
Okay, at this,
Just for full disclosure, I don't know if Angela's referring to me. I had, and it's a red light camera incident. I was flashed in the intersection, and I was right behind an 18-wheeler, which is clearly in the picture too, by the way. I was right in there behind him. I came around the corner, and I was flashed, and I wrote an appeal on the card, whatever you do there at the time, and expecting full to get fined. I did not get fined. I had never gotten any communication with anybody as to why, but I thought it was an unfair picture anyway. I mean, I had a ticket because I was right behind that 18-wheeler going through the intersection at some 20, 25, and there was no way I could have avoided it. But I was caught by the red light camera, and I did not get a ticket. Now, I didn't, in my opinion, I didn't get any favors, so I don't know what Jewel out there says. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I have a picture that clearly shows me right behind an 18-wheeler going through the intersection when the signal light went off. So for full disclosure out there, anybody that has any information with regards to that, there's my story.
I had no idea about your story, but thanks for sharing.
You have confessed or nothing?
all right, at this time, this has been a presentation by our Captain, Victorville Police Chief, Captain Cliff Reynolds. We've had quite a bit of testimony from all sides. I appreciate you all being here. I think it's obvious that based upon the testimony tonight, information we've heard, questions from the council members, that it would be appropriate to agendize for a future meeting, discussion and possible action on the removal of the red light.
Here, here!
Appropriate that this council have a full discussion about that issue, that we have a true understanding of the risk analysis, the cost to the city, and something that I've also asked for from the Tea Party leaders is I want in writing that you want this city council to spend taxpayer dollars to take out red light cameras and to also fight a lawsuit, because we know that's coming if we do that. So,
All in favor, say aye.
thank you. I have you on record. It's not usual that we get Tea Party members asking government to spend taxpayer dollars. So it just, I wanted to make sure that I had that clear in my mind. That's what you all wanted. But I think this whole issue needs to be agendized properly, and that discussion needs to happen at this council level, and then we need to ultimately have a vote on whether or not that is something we're going to do.
How much time do you need?
I'm going to defer to staff on how long it will take you to put together the information. We're requesting a risk analysis. What is it that, what's the amount of time you would need before we could put it back on the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I can tell you that we understand the urgency of everyone involved, and the direction of the council, and we will move as quickly as possible. We've got to first of all find out if we're going to provide a risk analysis to the council. What is the potential cost if we can determine, and if we can't determine, we will provide that, canceling the agreement. We need an opinion from the city attorney on what our risks are, what the probable cost would be, if in fact, I read that contract too, because a year ago, a little over a year ago, we renegotiated. I believe with the data that has already been gathered, already been put together by the police chief, that we would do for no more than 30 days. And hopefully sooner if we possibly can, we will put that together and get it back to the council as an agendized item as quickly as possible, with enough advance notice that everyone knows when this item is coming before the council.
Will you put that in the local paper so we'll notify?
Yes, it will be, and I'm sure the Tea Party publication will make sure they have it out there. By the way, thank you for calling on me to take them down. I actually received 0 phone calls from any of you, so I take it that this is your phone call. You're all here tonight, but I did not get any phone calls. I wanted to let Mr. Jensen know that.
We'll publish your phone number next time.
I'm sure you and then, I think it's appropriate too, Ms. Baez has requested that we discuss filling the vacancies. I mean, we talk about pulling out red light cameras and what the cost of that is going to be. I think at the same time we need to discuss that and whether or not this council sees that as a priority based upon the report that was provided here tonight. I, for one, when I ran, argued for 50 additional deputies, and I was told that that would cost $9 to $10 million. The City of Victorville doesn't have an additional $9 to $10 million a year, but I still would like to see additional deputies on the streets, and so if we could possibly get that. All right, before we move on to the next agenda item, I'm going to ask for a 5-minute recess. I know some of us up here need to use the facilities and allow you all that don't wish to stick around for the rest of the council meeting.
Tea Party, repeat after me. Thank you.
Thank you.